Every day at lunch recently, I've been watching a Christian leader who is going through his library and pulling out books while he's in this quarantine situation and sort of describing the books and saying what he likes about the books and the authors. And today he came to one of my favorite guys and he was talking about him. And this guy is a leadership guru. He's a really, I love what he writes on leadership, on accomplishing things, on getting things done. Frankly, I love a lot of what he says morally. And the funny thing is, or ironic thing is, he doesn't claim to be a Christian. But I commented later because I went and read one of his blogs and it was like he nailed it again. And I put it on Twitter and even said, it's amazing to me how often he comes to a more Christian response than a lot of Christians do. And he does it without God. And I find it amazing and fascinating. But there's one thing that I believe he's missing. See, sometimes we seem to think that somebody who isn't a Christian, that they can't be wise. And that's not true. There are plenty of people out there who have much wisdom in a lot of areas who aren't Christians. A lot of times we think people who aren't Christians can't be moral, that they won't arrive at morality. But the reality is there are a lot of atheists who study the world around us, like in Romans 1, where it says that we can see God in creation, we can learn of God in creation, and they end up with some very good moral theories. See, it's not they don't have morals, and it's not that they can't have wisdom. It's in Ecclesiastes 1 we find out what they miss. Because in Ecclesiastes 1, the author is saying he has set out to be wise, but he takes one thing out. And it's in verses 12 and 13 and 14. He says, I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. And what's missing, if you discount God, isn't wisdom. It isn't necessarily even morality. It's meaning. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after wind. And if I'm talking to somebody who doesn't believe in God, I'm not going to try to tell them that they can't be wise in certain areas. I'm not going to tell them that they can't even be moral and do good things. I'm going to tell them that all the good things they do are meaningless, and the wisdom points to nothing if there is no God. That's the lesson of Ecclesiastes, and it's a lesson we need to learn today. And that's today's Jumpstart.